Big news that Auburn basketball fans have been waiting for well over a month now and sitting on pins and needles has arrived. Tahaad Pettiford will officially be returning to Auburn basketball for the 2025-26 season. We're going to talk about that, offer our reactions, want to hear of yours as well, your anticipations, all those different things. Let's get into all of this news right now. War Eagle, and welcome to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together and sit down and talk about the Auburn experience, which is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it is if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing on this particular live stream today. This is just a reaction live stream, not a scheduled one, just an opportunity for us to get together and talk about some more or less breaking news. The news has been out for a few hours today already, but this is our first opportunity to get together and spend some time with you, whether you're watching live on the replay, just to talk about the news, offer some initial thoughts and reactions about that. And we certainly want to hear from you. As you come into the stream, a couple things you can do for us: smash the like button, subscribe, follow wherever you're watching. It's a huge help to us and yourself in staying connected to us here and staying connected to the Auburn experience. Obviously, this is a very big day for Auburn basketball for a variety of reasons, but namely what we're here for in the title and what we're here for mainly to kind of analyze, react to, and think about for a little bit is Tahaad Pettiford officially returning to Auburn basketball. He took all the way up to this particular date. May 28th was the final day that all NBA draft participants could decide if they had remaining eligibility to go back to college to decide to do that. From this point forward, if you stay in it, you are then declaring that you are foregoing your eligibility and no longer going to be going to play college ball. Well, today, Tahaad Pettiford, I feel like it was like a little after 2 p.m. Eastern time, 1 Central, he decided to announce through various channels. It broke through news sources first, and then he reacted out there with I think he posted a video officially confirming Auburn basketball accounts officially confirming. We spoke to someone in the athletic and the basketball program as well, confirmed it. So listen, what a day. Tahaad Pettiford returns for Auburn basketball. Now, why is this such a big deal? So if you're returning, if you're not an Auburn basketball person, if you're not an Auburn person in general, you might be just checking in just to see what we're saying here. Why is this such a big deal? Well, Tahaad Pettiford came in with a lot of expectations and a lot of opinions about how important he might be to this particular Auburn basketball team in the 24-25 season. And it's definitely developed into that. Now, there was a little bit of maybe cautiousness about this because a player previously, who's no longer here, kind of was built up by the fans a little bit and didn't match those expectations. But Tahaad did that and then some. I mean, there's a reason that he ended up on magazine covers with the superstar for Auburn, Janai Broome, on all freshman teams, all this stuff. He's a phenom. He was a phenom coming in, but he proved that it wasn't just phenomenal. He actually showed up, showed out, and had some incredible games on the biggest stages in college basketball, men's college basketball. And so when you couple that with how proficient he was as a first-year true freshman Auburn men's basketball participant, you then got to couple that with what Auburn has lost. And as everybody, coming into this offseason, it looked like Auburn might be able to return if Tahaad came back as well, maybe about 3 people, 2 main contributors to their roster of last year. So it was already going to be a gutting of it. Nobody else is left pretty much from the outside of, I believe, some of our walk-ons and things like that. But brand new roster. So you need a guy to be the leader. Well, I think that's my very first reaction to the news that Tahaad Pettiford is coming back. This is his team, his basketball team from this point forward. And that's pretty interesting to think about, where you've got some transfers in with some SEC experience and experience in general, maybe a little bit more just, mature in that sense. But obviously, you've got to look to a guy who is going to be your superstar now, who does have the familiarity of Bruce Pearl, the staff, what they want to do, how they want to play, how they want their program to be run. There's going to be older guys looking to Tahaad Pettiford. So that is my initial reaction. This is his basketball team. This is his particular opportunity to not just be a part. And yes, he will obviously be a part of a bigger tapestry, if I want to use a fancy word, that is Auburn basketball. But certainly he will be the guy that kind of it's built around from this point forward. So that I think that's the biggest takeaway and the biggest what it means for Auburn basketball is they got their guy in terms of where are they, what do they build around? Who is their leader? Where is the focus going to be going forward? So that's the biggest thing that I'm taking away at this particular moment. Michael's checking in, says, big turnover, but happy to have Tahaad back. Oh, big turnover on the roster. I was like, I don't think he had that many turnovers. He did at times, but that's just the nature of freshman players. Happy to have Tahaad back. And yes, there was certainly some other pickups today. We're going to be doing some discussions about him in some other videos coming up. And you know, the fun thing about today is this was the cap on what was a busy day for Auburn basketball and a very happy day for Auburn basketball. A double boom day from Coach Pearl. The coaches, the players were all celebrating this, whether it was the addition of a player from Serbia, which we'll talk about in another video, or Tahaad Pettiford, coming back. And reality is both of these news items together is the next item of what it means for Auburn basketball that sticks out to me. You obviously now feel like your team is complete. You know, Tahaad certainly is a huge piece. The player from Serbia, who I'm still learning to say his name, Filip Jovic, or I don't know. I'll figure out how to do it. But he is obviously another big piece as well. Bruce Pearl did identify in previous discussions that obviously they were waiting to see what happened with Tahaad and then would make some decisions going forward about what they would need to do with his spot. But they did need a big man. So with those two news items today, obviously capped off with Tahaad's news, that's your next big takeaway here is that the roster feels, based off of what Coach Pearl said previously, full at this point. It means no more speculating, at least that we know of, no more wondering, no more, is this person going to come in? When do we have, is this person going to make this decision? That means that the off-season focus for Auburn basketball and Auburn basketball fans is going to strictly move to other things. Now, I know a lot of you are going to go to season predictions, things like that. You are way too fast and early on those things. But right now, about the schedule coming into place, and then we can start piecing together what does the team look like? What does the groupings look like? You know, a lot of people focus on a starting five, but what Bruce Pearl has shown you a lot is he sometimes likes to run platoons, but he has a core group of about 9 to 10 that he loves to run out there. And you've brought in 11 guys across the freshman and the transfer class that all look like they may have an opportunity to fit somewhere into this puzzle piece that is this team. So we talked about Tahaad in terms of what it means, him being the leader, the focus, the central point of this team going forward. We talked about securing the roster for this going forward. So what does this mean for him in terms of playing time? Last year, he was the sixth man. At times did get to start every once in a while and played starting minutes. Bruce Pearl told you this if you watch some of his press conferences and some of his opportunities to speak with the media, that Tahaad would be a starter going forward. I think that's not a shock. That's not a big revelation to any of you out there that are talking about this with your friends and family. Tahaad Pettiford will be the central piece, thus will be the starting likely point guard. And it's such an interesting thing because when Tahaad Pettiford came in to Auburn basketball, there was a lot of debate about what he was going to play, he was going to do. You know, some people were wanting to pigeonhole him into a point guard position. Bruce Pearl was pretty adamant that he was going to be playing off the ball a lot or a combo of the two. And then it kind of switched over in the middle of the season when some other pieces didn't necessarily work out at the point guard position, that he had to move over there to back up Denver Jones and Miles Kelly, who maybe helped a little bit in that area at times too. Or even Chad Baker Mazzara, who every once in a while had a shot at that. But we really needed him to become, yes, a versatile combo guard, but have a heavy focus on being that starting point guard. And I would believe that's where we would head into the next season looking at this. This is from WT watching live. The important part of next season will be if the team plays unselfishly like the team did last year. And certainly you can point that to Tahaad. As a freshman, you have a tendency coming in to want to prove yourself, maybe to hold on to the ball a little bit. I'm not saying Tahaad necessarily did that. I'll reserve that for your own judgments and own opinions if he had those tendencies. But that's what's really going to have to become the balance for Tahaad and what it means for the team, the dynamics of all of this. He's going to have to figure out how do you balance being the guy, the guy that they lean on, the guy that they count on, but also distributing the ball, sharing the ball, creating opportunities for others, being the leader, that guy. So one of the great things I think about Janai is Janai knew when to take in different positions, obviously take over, but he also knew how to distribute the ball from down there, down low. So that's another big question mark about that question mark, but what it means, thinking about this news, how does this snowball? Thinking about what it means for other players. Caden Magwood obviously was a player that a lot of people compare to Tahaad in terms of what position he might play, combo guard with a concentration on point guard. Probably assume that he now moves into more of an off the bench type of role. It could have opened up for him in terms of maybe having some starting time, being a good shot for him. Tahaad coming back. This is the important thing, folks, that I want you to take away. Sometimes we overthink these things. Bruce Pearl is going to put the best 5 guys out there to start and the best 5 coming off the bench to make sure that they produce the way that this team needs to produce. Coming up, a couple of comments here. WT says, Tahaad showed what a man he is. He could have been a prima donna and got upset and that he wasn't the superstar. I applaud him for his team first mentality. And certainly that's got to encourage you being the guy, the leader, the only remaining piece that everybody is going to look to, fans or otherwise, that he's already displayed those qualities. And hopefully that continues to carry on as he becomes that official leader, at least in theory, for Auburn basketball. Cody on Facebook says, glad he is back on the Plains. We could make some big moves. We could make some big moves in basketball. Glad he chose Auburn and not the NBA. Yeah. So I think in terms of like, what does it mean for Auburn basketball and what does it mean for Tahaad Pettiford in terms of building that pedigree of getting to the NBA? Does he miss his opportunity? You always run the risk of injury, of hurting your draft stock. A lot of people will speculate off of reports and other things where he was going to end up. Somewhere in it seemed like the consensus was somewhere in the very late first round, early second round. So if there wasn't strong guarantees for him, it makes sense maybe for him to come back and increase that value, increase that opportunity to go much higher up in the draft. You know that he will be on those way too early NBA draft boards for next year already, which is a good sign for him, what it means for Auburn basketball and helping someone, be able to get here, stay here, show that we can support them through NIL, all that kind of stuff, and give them the opportunities to grow their game, increase their value, thus building the pedigree for Auburn basketball, not just of playing great college basketball, but putting great players into the NBA. And there's already some out there doing some great things or have been in the NBA playoffs. I know it's further along now and those have been eliminated. But continuing that storyline for Auburn. The other thing that pops in my head, starting to round out our time of what it means, is Auburn doesn't have to go spend a whole lot more. Well, they do in terms of Tahaad in theory with NIL, but can you imagine right now having to go find maybe a transfer portal point guard to squeeze into your roster here at the last minute? And who knows what kind of ego or anything like that, what kind of money they know when they've got you in a tight spot they would be asking for. So security, knowing what you're getting, you probably knew already what you were going to have to spend on Tahaad Pettiford to stay. It all works. All things work out for good. So that's what I wanted to spend our time today talking about. If there's any final commentary from you all, final thoughts about Tahaad, the news, what it means for Auburn basketball, please drop that. If you're watching live, you can also do that in the comment section if you're watching the replay. But certainly we want to make sure that we cover all angles of the news of Tahaad Pettiford returning for 2025-26. A little bit of reminders for you, those of you that have watched this live, that are watching the replay shortly thereafter, that tonight we do have some important things coming up and the rest of this week as well that you want to be aware of. Auburn Family Night is tonight at 9 Eastern time. We'll certainly keep talking about Tahaad and many other things in the Auburn space, and we take phone calls as well. So join the chat, call in, your choice, or just watch and listen to the show live or the replay, but we'd love to see you there live 9 Eastern time on YouTube. It's going to be a fun night as it always is. And maybe you'll make that highlight reel that we did last week. It was a very good, fun time and a good highlight reel. The Auburn Experience will be scheduled for 9 Eastern time this Sunday, as it always is for now, but that may change with the Auburn Baseball Regional. We'll have to play by ear for that, so just keep that in mind. And we maybe do some baseball regional post-game shows, depending on schedules. We'll see how that works. I'm not going to formally announce them right now. So that's what we got going on here. Some reminders for you as well. Last opportunities here to get some things in last minute. Tahaad Pettiford returns 2025-26 for his true sophomore season, becoming the guy, keeping Auburn from having to go out and buy or find find somebody to fill his space. Couple that with the news of the big men out of Serbia coming in. The roster does look complete. Tahaad moves forward maybe as the de facto, if not the official leader of this team going forward, even as a true sophomore, and how this will continue to build what he does this season for his potential future in the NBA coming up after this season. But for now, the waiting is over, folks. You got what you wanted. Tahaad Pettiford returns to the Auburn Tigers, and we get to watch him for a second year in a row in the orange and blue. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching us live or on the replay, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.